What is going on, guys? Happy Monday. Hope you guys are doing good. We have quite the show for you today because, there have been quite. Actually, let me rephrase that. There's been a lot of drama with quite a few other YouTubers between Valhalla, Candace, Baron, all those guys, and it's mainly focusing on this piece of shit, Mitch Snow. Okay. And that's what we're talking about today. Listen, listen. Okay, as someone who's a veteran myself, if you, I mean, it doesn't matter if you either in service or not turn into a piece of shit. I no longer see you as a veteran. I just don't. And I think that's fair. Your honor is no longer there. When you lose your honor, I no longer consider you any kind of veteran in my eyes. And that's exactly who this Mitch Snow is. Okay, so before we get into a little bit of the documents, because I have a few documents already ready to go here. However, we're going to go to a couple of different places. All right, so we're going to check out a little bit of Nate here, and I have it here because there's a very important thing to mention at the start of this whole thing. Now, I had already watched quite a bit of his show here. I didn't watch all of it because from this point on, he's doing super chats, as you can see here. But from this point on, he's showing evidence upon evidence of who this guy actually is, and so that's what we're going to start off with tonight's live stream, getting into, and then we're going to go to two different interviews that Gary did on Paramount Tactical. So he did an interview with a couple of his victims, a couple of women that he had essentially exploited and abused, and then we're also going to talk with his son, because his son is coming out and exposing his father about who he is, and then also his victims as well. So, however, I want to start this off by um, getting into what Nate says about Mitch. Oh, hey, Eric. Kind of got it on my phone, but it's kicking me out of here twice now. Oh, damn. Well, hey, man. No, that's fine, dude. That's fine. I appreciate you letting me know what's going on. Um, yeah, just chill in the chat, man. And then whatever you see come up and you want to talk about, just feel free to comment. But let's try and get that fixed for next live stream. That's fine, man. Don't worry about it so much. I just figured you might want to come on and talk about it too. But if your internet's giving you a little bit of a trouble, then there's nothing we could really do about that. So don't worry too much about that, man. I appreciate you dropping in, man. Um, there's a lot to get through tonight. So, but let's go ahead and get into what Nate says um, about Mitch here, or why it's so important what he's talking about.
Gary has covered. Here's the crazy thing, guys. Gary from Paramount Tactical covered stuff earlier than this with previous ex-wives and more domestic violence. I only covered like half of the abuse. There's a lot more. And again, his own kid, guys, his own son, who's an Army veteran, is coming out tomorrow. No, people keep saying this. Baron said Mitch's character isn't in the question. Yes, it is. Mitch's character is the pivotal, most important part of the entire story.
Yep.
Because Mitch has no evidence. Mitch has nothing other than his eyewitness account.
Yep.
And so the credibility of a witness does matter. If I can show you that witness is a pathological liar and abuser, it does actually, it means everything.
Yes, it does.
It means everything.
It does. Absolutely. So I kind of want to set up that premise because when it comes to what you see, obviously that really hinges on your credibility. right, and who you are as a person. That's why we don't always trust doctors who claim, to do the good of the people, because they could always abuse that power, right? And just because you have those things, or those little slips of paper that tell you that you are who you are, doesn't always mean that you are who you are, or who you say you are, right? And so that's why character is very, very important. And if you're a pathological lying piece of shit, then people are going to find out about it, and well, they're going to show you up. So I have a couple of documents here, and I want you guys to take a look at where these documents are coming from. Okay. So let's see. Well, I had it here. Okay. I guess maybe. Um. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe I just happened to have missed that. All right. Here. Let me pull that back up. I thought I had that already out. See, there's so many documents from this guy. I mean, there are all kinds of, um, yeah. You really gotta watch people. What people do instead of what they. Yeah, exactly, bro. Even more so today than ever before. Because there are so many grifters, so many people who are more than happy to lie to exploit you for whatever means that they can, whatever benefit that they can get out of you. Which is exactly why I put out the video that I did about Anya Wick. If you guys haven't seen that one, I highly advise you guys go watch that one too. Um, but let's see. Ah, here we go. Okay. This is what I wanted to show you guys first. All right. So they were trying to discredit what Valhalla, what Nate was saying about Mitch, because, well, they thought the documents were fake. Well, I mean, you look at stuff like this, right? This is coming from the Superior Court of the State of Washington, from the county of Wakima. Okay, so these are actual documents, right? These are actual documents that he had, that he has access to, right? And this is exactly why we're going more into what Nate is talking about, why we're watching his live stream, because obviously he's the source for this. Okay, so here we go. 2023, court entered had entered a protection order, right? Because of his history of domestic abuse. I mean, he has a number of domestic abuse cases, man. Also stalking, which I'll show you here. I mean, this guy was a real piece of fucking work. He really was. I believe this here. Yes. Okay. So, as of this factor, there have been a significant amount of evidence relating to postings on the internet and podcasts regarding this case. Mr. Snow had claimed that he is not responsible for posting, but he has cooperated in interviews and providing information. Mr. Snow's actions may constitute a form of stalking. So, and this is this, I believe it was the same court here that, yes, court's decision 23rd. Or sorry, no, this is from this year. Oh shit. So this is more recent. So what he would do was, and this is according to some of the victims, is that he would take their phones as they're sleeping, and then he would go and stalk his exes, right? Because he would leave his phone just to avoid or just get around the loophole of, getting caught with his pants down when it comes to the stalking stuff. And so, but it gets worse. It gets so much worse. If you guys didn't, if I mean, if it's not just stalking. This guy is a pathological abuser as well, right? So here, I believe this was Candace, one of his victims. I believe it was Candace. Um, and so she said on Sunday, December 4th, "You goddamn piece of shit, hit me in the face tonight." And he openly admits it. He says, "Yes, I did. I'm sorry. I drank too much." Okay. So this is who this guy is, right? Uh, here, there's something. There's another. Oh, okay. We already looked at that. Okay. All right. So and there's already so much more to this. There's absolutely so much more to this, but um, we're going to kind of back this up a little bit, and then we're going to watch probably about 20 minutes of this to kind of really get a good understanding of who this guy is, because Nate just brings out document after document after document, and it turns out that Mitch actually was a Green Beret. So Nate was saying that he wasn't a Green Beret, and now he's saying that he is a Green Beret. So I guess he had to backtrack there, but and I don't know what's going on. Maybe Nate had some reservations about him with Mitch lying, of course, and there's a big track record of that. But who is saying Nate has no credibility? So what I the so well actually here what I'll do is we will backtrack to the beginning of the show here so that you can get a good understanding of who is questioning Nate's credibility. Oh,
All right.
okay. There we go.
Here we go, everyone. Hope everybody's ready for a fun one tonight. You can already see a lot of people in the chat attacking me before they've ever even seen the episode. So there's a lot of critical thinking going on in that, huh? Yeah, Nate's on the CIA payroll. Nate's gay, I heard. I'm gay and my wife's a stripper. So we got that one going on. Probably true. Probably true. I was an Oregon cheerleader, so I'm probably gay. A lot of attacking. We got death threats this week.
Oh,
It's that wild. I haven't even done the episode yet.
wow.
And we're receiving death threats.
That's something that I forgot. So, before he kind of gets into it, these are people that are yes, it is confirmed. It is confirmed straight from him. Nate is a gay gay cheerleader who married a stripper. Bro's basically P Diddy. Wait. Let me retract that. Let me retract that just so I don't get on his bad side. But what's going on is basically these are people. Supposedly these are people that are coming from Candace's show, that are attacking Nate, and it gets fucking wild. I'll just let it play.
So,
oh hey, how's my audio? Is my audio fine? Am I too loud? Am I too quiet? How's the audio? Is everything good?
no drinking tonight. I'm fighting off bronchitis right now, unfortunately.
I'll
so
bet.
if I'm
Good.
hacking shit up, sorry guys. Honestly, should not be doing this episode, but there was no way I couldn't show up.
You're a G, bro.
Like, oy vey. It's wild how many people
Oy
are attacking
vey.
me. You haven't even seen my episode yet.
Oh no.
It's insane. Look at this. You haven't even seen the episode, and it's all the same people. Okay. Look, here's the deal. What we're gonna go over in this video, we're obviously gonna go through Mitch Snow. We're gonna expose a bunch of his lies through his military career, his stories, and as well as his horrific 30-year background with domestic violence, punching women in the face, kidnapping children, all verified through court documents, and him admitting to. By the way.
Oh really?
All that.
Wait, dude. So they were what? Were they really? They were really getting mad at you for asking for evidence? Really? Why would they do that? I mean, it the biggest problem today is that people find an influencer they like and they will defend that influencer no matter what, right? It's such a cultish thing. Oh, okay. Okay, on what specifically? Like her pretty much calling pretty much saying that Israel did it, right? Which I mean, there's a lot of evidence that points to that. Um, just kept asking for anything, linking what she said is true. Okay, yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Um, from what I have seen from her, uh, is pretty much true. Aside from this Mitch Snow stuff, right? So, um, the text messages, right, between Charlie and um, Josh Hammer and all those guys, that was true. Okay. Then you had the Egyptian planes and everything like that. That was true. That's all kinds of things. Israel, the French, her own assassins, all that. Yeah. No evidence anyone would show me anything. Um, well, I mean, what would you like to see? Because there have been chat logs that she has linked that she has not leaked, but that she has shown um where Charlie was in a group chat with Josh Hammer and all those people talking about leaving the pro-Israel lobby, um or pro-Israel stance. And then she also she also I want to say there was a text chat that also mentioned. Oh no, I think that was a direct message to maybe her. I believe that he believes he's targeted. I'm pretty sure she also put that on her channel as well. Now, as far as the plane stuff, I really haven't looked a whole lot into that. But the thing is Nate wants to believe Candace, and the unfortunate thing is we don't have Benny Johnson talking about it, obviously because he's sold out. We don't have Brandon Tel Aviv Tantrum talking about this because obviously he's sold out. Um, we don't have any of the we don't even have Steven Crowder talking about this shit either, right? And I don't know what's going on. Well, I do know what's going on with Brandon Tantrum and Benny Johnson. Those motherfuckers sold out completely. But as far as Steven Crowder, I'm not exactly sure what the deal is with him. Um, but as far as I understand it, Candace is the only one that's actually really doing a really big deep dive into everything, and um, but it's just the same thing, whenever you're an influencer, people really gravitate to you and they will defend you no matter what. And that's a really big problem because you should be able to ask questions about anyone or anything, right? And receive evidence so that you can come to the same, or that you can come to a conclusion of your own, you know? But when the majority of people don't even want, you know, uh, evidence, that's when it becomes cultic or cultish, right? That's a massive problem with today. People have become so cult like, man. They really have. It was the left, right? And after that was exposed, MAGA was then exposed for being a cult. And now America First people are around the same thing. And it seems like the only people that actually have a fucking brain that want evidence and question everything to come to their own conclusions, to know that they know to be objectively true, are the ones that are not even in a they don't act like cult members, you know. because they're always questioning everything and coming to their own conclusions on things. Um, and they're constantly getting attacked by people who just don't do much thinking at all. But anyways,
a lot of people are trying to say that it doesn't matter what this person's backstory is. And what we're going to lead with actually is that it's the most important thing. His credibility as an eyewitness is all this story has.
not only is Mitch a woman beater, but he's also a grapist. Because I believe his victims talk about that too.
I want you to think about this. What is the entire
And that's actually on the documents as well.
Fort Huachaca story hinge on? It hinges on one eyewitness's account of supposedly seeing Erica Kirk and Brian Harpool the day before Charlie Kirk's assassinated. There's no evidence of that. There's no pictures of that. There's no metadata of that. There's no nothing of that. The only thing we have is one person's eyewitness account. Now, if I can show you that this same person has a 30-year history of being a pathological liar, as proved by the courts,
30 years.
It actually does matter. Because what that means is, why would you, the viewer, believe someone who's got such a massive track record of proven lies, which I will show you. And guys, it's going to be all documents. These are not going to be my opinions. It's going to be all documents from start to finish. Okay. Here's what I want to say before we start the show. Obviously, Candace Owens fans are viciously attacking me before they've ever seen the episode. I'm not sure why. I'm not here to attack Candace at all. I have nothing negative to say about Candace. What I'm going to show you is how this person is a pretty good con artist. And I'm going to show you how he was able to dupe Candace Owens.
Oh, wait.
I'm not blaming her at all.
Wait, that's right. Because I believe there was a GoFundMe. No, that's not it. I remember seeing, is it Mitchell? No. I don't know if exactly if it was a fundraiser or if it was a GoFundMe, but there was funds that was raised for Mitch Snow of over $100,000, which the victims also talk about. We'll get to that later.
But all for it. But he did. Okay. And I've seen Coach Colin is attacking me. Barron just got done attacking me. His entire audience is attacking me. Before they've, and I'll just say I'm just a little bit disappointed for you guys if you see this. You haven't even seen my episode. So I'm not here to attack them either. I still like Barron. I like Coach Colin. I like Candace. I'm not here to attack anyone other than Mitch Snow. That's it. So if you guys want to attack me, that's fine. I saw there was a massive unsubscribe campaign that was leveraged on my account. And I want to say congratulations. I will show you guys you were successful. You got me. Yes, 153 unsubscribers. So for those all you in the chat that leveraged that unsubscribe campaign on the last video, Barron didn't attack me? Okay, well, I hope that's true. I haven't watched the episode yet, but everybody in the chat has been saying that. So, Barron, if you didn't attack me, then I'll take that back. But
yeah, so I have to be very careful myself too, because look, when it comes to content creation, I am always busy working on stuff. I spend almost every minute of the day from the point that I wake up, right, eat breakfast, and from that point on, I'm working on stuff. Maybe a video, getting ready for a live stream, or I'm working on some kind of project, right? I'm working on music, I'm working on something, right? And so, there's not really a whole lot of time that I can really spare to do a lot of deep research into stuff, right? And so I have to catch myself quite often about just believing what people were saying in the comment section or other videos and stuff like that. So and I'm just glad I'm not the only one. Let's see. Jenny DeLay and Nate recently had a video where Candace wouldn't show evidence like a week ago too. Oh, really? Really? Um, okay, that's interesting. On what exactly?
According to everybody in the chat, that's what they're saying. But anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to work our way through this. Baron defended me? Okay, well, let me retract that, guys. So this is the problem, is because we have people in the chat spamming me that Baron's attacking me. See, we can already see it. My bad then, Baron. If you didn't attack me, it was just your viewers or Candace's viewers, which is fine. Yeah, you can call me a crybaby. It's fine, guys. Guys, you're not going to bully me.
Oh, okay. It was over her Christmas stream. Oh, okay. Okay, I gotcha. Do you remember what it was over?
You're not going to. I see other people.
Because as far as I know, she hasn't really done anything on the Mitch Snow thing just yet. Now it could be that she already has and I just haven't seen it, but I would imagine that she would absolutely have already denounced Mitch, especially after um after this whole episode with Nate.
You have time to shut Nate down. You're not going to shut me down. Okay. All I'm here to do is show you who this person is. Okay. I want you guys to make up your own decisions. Support whoever you want. Okay. I'm not here to attack anybody.
I think this
Not
is
Candace.
where it gets really
I like
interesting.
Candace. I still support Candace 100%. Baron, Colin, everybody. I'm still on everybody's team. But Mitch Snow, who we're going to talk about today, is a legitimate fucking monster.
Oh, he is, bro. 100%.
Okay?
100%.
And for me, the reason why this got personal was not just the story he's telling on Candace Owens, but the fact that he's raised $140,000.
Oh shit. Oh shit. I thought it was 100,000. Oh shit.
And for those of you who stick with us through this whole show, the fact $140,000 has been raised for this person is going to
what the fuck?
Yeah, you're not going to like it either. How am I crying?
So
I know we see the Candace fans. It's okay. I just keep an open mind. Okay?
Dude. Attacking an actual Green Beret for exposing another Green Beret, that's a fucking piece of shit. And listen, just because you're a veteran doesn't automatically make you a good person, okay? I've met plenty of other veterans who are absolute douchebags, all right? So, but to be attacking this guy before he's even had the chance to present you any evidence, that's fucked up, man.
And and this again, how am I crashing out? Anyway,
cultist mentality, man.
Now, this is not going to be for the people who've already made up their minds. This is for people who want to find out who this fucking guy is. And we found out who this guy is. And I'm going to give you the good, the bad, the ugly.
I want to
see the thing about a good con artist is there's kernels of truth. And he is a good con artist. He does.
Yo, my boy Hugo, what's up, bro? Oh, they both addressed it separately. Okay, gotcha. But what did they address though? I wanna find out what they addressed. I had a veteran supervisor always telling about teen girls in Thailand. Talking about hey bro, I appreciate all the support, man. I really do, bro. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Um, so you're kind of late. No, that's okay, man. I appreciate you stopping by. I'm just messing with you. Yeah. So if you don't know who Mitch Snow is, he's a prior Green Beret. He says he's retired. He's not retired. He got out, and well, he decided to start beating women and then raping them and then stealing their money and then going and stalking them, and I just a long fucking history of this shit. And so what I wanted to get into, and we'll watch another couple of minutes of this. Um Dude, right on, bro. Right on. Well, welcome, man. Hopefully you can relax and watch this show um and get some useful information. So, welcome, brother. I hope you're having a beautiful Monday. Are you having a beautiful Monday?
Does have good documentation that would get past someone who
People were leaving saying they were unsubscribing for saying Candace hasn't presented evidence. Then Nate and JD stopped to tell people they weren't going to quit for people announcing leaving. Right. Right. Oh yeah, that's because I was I want to say I was live watching their live, if I remember. Yes, yeah, I was. I was. And I remember. I don't think they were necessarily saying anything about lack of evidence. They they were saying that um, they were hoping that Candace was going to come out and disavow Mitch, right? Because she had taken Mitch as a source, and they had found out who Mitch was, right? And they were essentially saying, "Hey, Candace, look, you should be knowing better than this, right? Because she's a journalist, right? So you have to vet your sources before you put out the information." And Candace didn't do that so well, right? And that's very obvious. That's very obvious. If you want to use an eyewitness source as testimony, right? Then you got to make sure that they're vetted properly. And if you're not doing that, then people are going to call you out. And that's what people were saying that they were going to unsubscribe for. And I guess those were probably Candace zealots, right? Again, it's the problem with this cult-like mentality people have today. Um, it's so messed up, dude. I really hate this shit, man. You know, and it's typically because these people are one-sided as well, right? They're not open-minded people. They're pretty one-sided thinking people, right? And anything that disagrees with them, they instantly just throw out. And I really hate that. I really do. Because there are some things that the left gets right, and there's some things that the right gets right. Okay? However, there's not a single side that has everything right. It's just how life is. And I'm not religious, but I'm also not someone who uh supports all that shit that the left does either, right? So I don't support the right. I don't really support the left. I support people who critically think. And unfortunately, people who are still in the MAGA movement, they don't critically think, right? Because we've already seen how this administration um, has been performing, right? With the absolutely horrendous performance of this FBI administration, and then on top of that, how Trump is obviously attacking anyone and everyone about the whole Epstein thing, right? So you have all these cults everywhere, man. You really do, and it's very sad. And this is what really needs to be talked about, though, right? People need to stop having this cult like mentality because it's not helping anyone. It's not creating discourse, right? Civil discourse, which is what Charlie wanted, right? So if we don't create an atmosphere for that, right, and maintain that atmosphere, what are we doing? It's only going to continue the destruction of this country. This is why I always welcome anyone and everyone, as long as you're a good person, mind you. But I welcome anyone and everyone. Don't care. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you vote for, as long as you're a good person and you want to do good, right, for yourself and for others, right? You want to make this country better. But a lot of people aren't like that today, unfortunately.
Who doesn't really understand the military. Yeah, relax, guys. This is gonna be a couple hour show. Gotta relax. Let's just ease our way into it. Okay,
Nice
so
and
let's get
slow.
started. What we're gonna start with at the beginning is talk about the lies that we know, some truths that we know.
Really rooted for Trump back in 2020. I didn't. I didn't because I was one of those people who was blindly loyal, right? Just wasn't thinking. I wasn't using any critical thinking skills. Because the way that I understood it back in 2015, we all know how that went, right? The left was relentless against people who were quote unquote waking up, right, with the red pill, and I really hate that term because it's so cringe. It's so overused at this point, but it is true though, right? Because I mean the whole meaning of red pill was getting people to wake up and seeing what's going on around them, and well, people began that in 2015, right? That's why we had Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, Maya Yiannopoulos, Candace. That's why we had all these people. Brendan Tantrum, of course. But I rooted for Trump back in 2015, and then someone had pointed out to me in 2020 that he was openly attacking the Second Amendment because he was actively calling for people's Fourth Amendment rights to be violated, people's Fifth Amendment rights to be violated, right? Because the question of red flag laws came up, and he was talking about taking people's guns before trial, right? Which is a big violation of our constitutional rights, right? And then he was also calling for bans on bump stocks, on suppressors, and that was a no go for me. That was it. That was it. I stopped supporting him after that. However, I say back in like it was 5 years ago, I did unfortunately vote for him this time around too, simply because I didn't want 4 more years of a a critically old man shitting himself in the White House, while Kamala's wiping his fucking ass. um, I didn't want that, so uh, but all the same, right? All of these things are coming out about Trump now, how he was involved with Epstein and how he was Epstein's best friend, right? But you come to find out these things, and then also I came to find out that Trump was involved with MLMs, right? As someone who was very recently a victim of MLMs, of Amway, and Hugo's in the chat here. He can tell you as well. Um, Trump was a paid spokesperson for an MLM called American Communications Network, right? For 10 years, he was a paid spokesperson, and he had them on his show called The Apprentice, and so there was a lot to deal with that there. Um, and coming to find out about all that stuff and the federal lawsuits that is being put against his family, himself, and ACN, you really wake up to a lot of things, but people still support him, even though he took $230 million from Miriam Adelson, right, and recognized Israel. That's not even our ally. We have no documentation of an actual peace treaty with them, right? People are still supporting him. I see it all now. It could be that they're bots, right? Because that's a really big thing to prop up numbers. But I mean, Trump's approval rating is abysmal right now. I mean, rightfully so, and it's going to continue to dive down. But just so I don't get on that rant, yeah, a lot of people rooted for him back in 2015 and 2020 simply because they didn't want Biden. And it doesn't matter whether you get red or blue, you still get a certain country overseas because the majority of Congress is bought out by APAC. So, which our president also endorsed Tony Gonzalez over Brett Herrera. So that should just tell you, what the motives are there.
And then work our way into the vicious litany of the past, okay? And yeah, if you're out, guys, again, this is for people who just want the documents and want to learn something. And again, make up your own decisions, okay? You don't have to believe me. Take all the information, put it together, decide what you want to believe from there, okay?
And I looked at, just showed you guys these documents at the beginning of the stream. So for you guys that are just coming in, sorry, we'll go through and I'll show you guys as we're going. We're not going to spend too much time on Valhalla or Nate here. But we are going to spend probably about 20-30 minutes because I believe there was a whole hour and a half that he was talking about all of the evidence here. But I want to give more time to his victims because his victims came out and was talking on Gary's show over on Paramount Tactical, and then his son also came out. So probably give it about 20-30 minutes, and then we'll head over there and to see what they have to say.
First thing we're going to get into, the backstory. Okay, there's some things we have 100% disproved about the backstory. There's some things that are kind of true about the backstory that are going to be interesting as well. Okay, so let's start at the beginning with his story about his initial time at Fort Huachaca, at the border, at the JTF, chasing down the cartels, exposing the tunnels. Guys, I'm not...
Probably skip ahead here.
I'll show you here. To his actual bottom portion of his DD-214.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why he just gave this portion of his DD-214. That doesn't really make so much sense to me, and it's not even really that great of a picture. Because you can absolutely block out all of the PPI, personally protected information, on your DD-214, and you can oops, misclick. You can absolutely take a picture of the entire thing and block out all of this different information that is considered personal information. But you can see here, he was discharged. He was not retired. Disability. It seems like he was what, medically? No. Reason for separation. Disability. So he was medically separated. That's what I'm getting from that. Well, let's see what Valhalla says.
Here,
Nate.
Discharge, right? So discharge basically means you were discharged. If you were medically retired, this would say medically retired. So we know that he lied both about his cartel backstory, and we know that he lied about the reason why he was...
Wait, but hang on. Is getting med boarded and medically separated, is that... I'm assuming that's the same thing?
Moved from the military. He was not medically retired. Why does all this matter? Because all of these lies are going to compound. They're going to compound as we're going through this. Interesting truth. And this is where he was able to scam Candace. Is that, yes, Harry actually... So again, to my point, for Candace's viewers who are so mad at me, what I'm explaining to you is how he was able to trick Candace, because he did have a little bit of documentation here and there, sort of trick her into his backstory, which most of it's not true. Okay.
Right.
So now that we've done that, name change. We got to talk about the name change.
Oh,
Very, very
I
important.
forgot about
So,
that.
as he told Candace,
Forgot about that
he
one.
had to change his name and his identity in the early 1990s because he was on the run from the cartels. That
Right.
is another lie.
Yeah. So just to kind of sum up what Nate was saying, um, he's a victim of the cartels. He's a victim of women. He's a victim of the court system, and so he actively threatened several judges to kill them. Actually, yeah, he threatened them. Um, and yeah, he picked a woman up, slammed her on her head, did a bunch of damage that way, broke doors down, manipulated them, gaslighted them. Um, this guy's just a bad dude.
He changed his name in 2010 legally to Mitch Snow because that is his current wife's last name, Lene Snow. So, no, he did not change his name. He did not change his identity as he was on the run from the cartels. He did that in 2010. For people saying we only care about the meeting, here's my thing, guys. There is no proof. All we
Bro.
have is his eyewitness account. If you want to believe his eyewitness account at the end of this episode, you are more than willing to do that. Okay? Now that we understand the backstory, okay, a little bit of truth, a lot of lies. It's important because you're going to see some very common threads through all of these women's stories. Okay, so from Lene. Lene says, when I met Mitch, his name was Harry. He told me his sob story about how his ex-wife had taken his kids and he wasn't able to find them. He spent the first month of our long-distance relationship on the phone with me, nearly 40 hours per week at first, telling me his sad stories and interrogating me, learning all he could. I don't use that term lightly. He told me that he started out in the Army and Army intelligence and was trained in interrogation techniques, and in Special Forces, he was further trained in interrogation and torture. I can verify as a Green Beret, we are not trained in either interrogation or torture. That is not true. As we move down here into, again, a lot more of this as it gets darker and darker.
Hang on. So what you're saying is that you don't go through SEER training. Oh, trained in interrogation and torture. Okay. So you would be trained in how to do interrogation and torture. Okay, yeah. So for those of you who may not know, there are even for regular military, you still go through training called SEER. I believe it's I forget what the S stands for. Survive, escape, something. I can't remember, bro. But what SEER training is should you get captured, right? It teaches you how to survive, right? And that you never give up information, even if they kill you. But then they also teach you how to evade being captured again, how to regroup with your unit, stuff like that. And so, yeah.
Sure.
But
She
but
says, I was unaware that some
every service member, I believe every service member, maybe it's just for combat roles, but I do know especially for. Oh no! That's right. Every service member goes through SEER training, at least some form. At least some form of it, because I went through SEER training in basic, and during basic expeditionary skills training, Beast Week, um, and every airman goes through that. But I think you get even deeper into it whenever you get out into the actual military.
like this could exist, especially when it was someone who was presented in such a way, someone who was kind, loved animals, had a hard life, but was looking for peace, for love, and a family. It wasn't until he suddenly found the children he had with his second wife and started court proceedings to pursue visitation that he began to see the monster he truly was. By the way, he has a bunch of kids. They have all been either abandoned or he has lost custody of through abuse.
Yeah.
And has paid no child support to any of them. We'll get into all of that. Just to start building the character of
This guy has been in jail too, by the way.
this person. He accused her of horrible, and again, this is going to be a very common thing with Harry, is accusing everyone of being after him. He's the ultimate victim in the story. All these women abused him. The cartels, you're going to see here, the cartels are after him. The army's after him. Women are after him. Judges are after him. Prosecutors are after him. Everybody's after this guy.
All right, so I kind of want to skip ahead here, because I want to get to the I want to get to Candace, and I do believe Lene is right by her telling her story and her son. So I want to kind of skip through this and show you guys the pretty jaw dropping, or I guess the more interesting. I mean, all of it's interesting, but kind of the highlights of the evidence here.
Here we go. All right, the actual police reports and what actual law enforcement had to say. So these are the charges, child molestation charges, that he filed against.
This is where he is lying on, who was he? He was lying on one of, I can't remember if it was Lene or Candace, but I want to say it was one of them that he was lying about. Made an absolute false police report, and that's what we're getting to now.
His own wife, by the way. Again, when it comes to making up stories,
Lene, yeah,
there's going to be a lot of that. It's relevant. All right, sexual assault report. This is from Sheriff's Department. We come down here. This is the officer on duty talking about when they received the call. Says that Mitch Snow, then said that he believed his wife, Lene, had been sexually assaulting his 4-year-old son. This gets dark. Before continuing the conversation, I contacted an on-duty officer, explained Mitchell was reporting a sexual assault, and requested the night shift make contact with Mitchell at his hotel room, and that he let Mitchell know that he did not believe the child was actually in danger. But if we get into what he accused his wife of, and this is horrific, I almost don't want to read it. Actually, I don't even know if I want to read this out loud because it's so gross. Essentially claimed that his wife
just read it, bro.
Was taking naked Snapchats of their 4-year-old son, and
it's all fascinating. I'm glad I dropped in last. I'm glad you dropped in last minute too, man. We all got to find out the truth of all of this stuff. If we don't know who's lying to us, we don't know that we're being lied to, right? So it's good to be aware of what's going on.
Sexually assaulting him.
Glad I could help.
Now, he then later admitted to the police officer that Mitch hadn't actually observed Lene touching or kissing the child's genitals, but he had made those claims. Again, this is
weird, right? Weird, right? You would imagine that if you were going to make a claim on someone, especially someone that you were married to, you'd want to make sure that you at least saw what was going on, right? Based on my interviews with both both Mitchell and Lene, I don't feel there is sufficient evidence or reason to continue this investigation. However, I will forward this report to the detective division for review. Okay, so that's very interesting. Even the officers, the detectives who are doing the investigation, do not believe what Mitchell is saying. Okay, I want to get to. Because he went on a podcast here, and this is where he's talking about his abuse with I can't remember if it was. Oh, okay. So I think this was Candace, not Candace Owens, but Candace, a woman that he is currently with. Or divorcing or whatever. It's hard to keep track of this guy because there are so many women that he has been with, so many women that he's exploited, lied to, abused, and he's as you can see, he's wearing a sling here, and he's claiming that the woman he was with had broken his thumb, and this guy is 5'10", 200 something pounds, right? And he's claiming that a woman was beating the shit out of him, right? Broke his two thumbs. Whatever, bro. So I want to get into so there's oh yeah, dude, this is sick right here. This is sick right here. He also talks about buying this woman a new ring for not leaving him, sending that disgusting picture, pretty much one of his sons against his will or something. Literally says, let me see if I can. There we go. Without those files and computer, Nate is, you know, and you know it, right? Um, that's fucked up. That's because what happened was she had left with the woman that he was with. I want to say it was Candace. Had yes, I want to say it was Candace. Had left, right, because they were living in a house together, and then she had left, right, after all the abuse and everything like that. She had left, and she had taken the computer that was in the house, right? And she assumed that it was hers, and well, this is where this comes from. So
He messages to Candace with the son. Without those files in the computer, Nate is dead, and you know it. So he's trying to say that Lene,
oh, Lene, my bad,
the mother of the child who has custody, thank God, was going to kill their son if he was returned to Lene, which we showed earlier. Obviously, the courts forced him to return the child.
Right.
And this gets any women watching this who've been in abusive relationships. Abusive relationships are going to recognize this, as you can see, just constant spamming of text messages.
Yeah.
It says, I'm asking you to go look for the cohabitation laws. Candace, Nate want to say goodbye in a good way. Don't do this, Candace. Please call him. Without those files, we're dead. Nate's dead. You know it. More begging. We're going to break down the bedroom.
Yeah. Okay. So, this is what I showed you guys earlier. So, he openly admits right here, that he had punched her in the face, Lene. Okay. So, we kind of we get, or at least I would imagine you guys understand the kind of guy he is, right? So now that we've already seen all that, and you guys can check out, Nate's live here. So from pretty much let's see, all right, probably about 15-20 minutes to an hour and a half. He talks about all of the evidence here. After that, it's just super chats, unfortunately. But, when you're a YouTuber, you got to make sure you are communicating with your community. So we're going to go ahead and get into their story, because this is some wild shit.
The whole thing is predicated on the idea that everybody in this town is on the take from Lene and other people. And she's paying all these judges and all these other things. And then, by the way, she's paying two professional grifters that wait until, he gets thrown in jail, and then they break into his home. Now, Candace, let's go ahead and bring you in on this. He said he basically doesn't know who you guys are, that you're just paid grifters. You made some allegations, and then you broke into his home. So fill the audience in on your relationship with Mitch at the time that he's saying that you broke into his home and stole all his stuff and then ran off, I guess.
So Mitch and I lived together for 18 months. It was our home. Okay. I had a domestic violence protection order issued. And because of that, I was able to go and collect my personal belongings that were in that property.
He failed to leave that kind of important, he failed to mention that kind of important detail.
I believe that's where she went to go and get what she believed was her computer, I think, if I remember correctly.
It seems odd to me.
Well, absolutely. And we were, engaged for about 6 months. He proposed to me on my birthday, Veterans Day. And you'll see in the court
Guys, this woman's also a veteran too, right? So just so you guys know.
records and the text messages that he even tried to manipulate me after I had left the relationship with a larger rank because he got another credit card. He's full of crap. He's a manipulative, coercive liar. He's been abusing women for a long time. But for me specifically, he gave me a TBI. I have in text messages him admitting to punching me in the face the night he gave me a TBI. Okay. And December 4th of 22. It's just, he's a horrible serial abusive person.
For everybody that isn't aware, that didn't watch Nate's podcast yesterday, he provided all the documentation with Candace. What I wanted to try to do was, we have all that documentation, we can share all that stuff, but I wanted to just hear her story. The documentation is there, text messages, court cases, and currently right now he is on a domestic violence charge with you and a protection order against you and Aaron, which we will get to in just a few minutes. But he admitted to in text messages with you that he punched you in the face. You said, "Hey, you punched me in the face." And he said, "Yeah, I did. I'm sorry." So these are all documented. This isn't just hearsay. This isn't, a scorned woman coming on here and claiming something.
Yeah, what's really disgusting to me, and this is where my faith in humanity kind of really plummets. There were people in Nate's chat who were maybe coming from Candace's community, maybe not. But there were people in the chat that were literally saying, "Who cares?" As he was showing all of this evidence. Who cares? It doesn't matter. What? So you don't care that a woman is getting beat to nearly death, right? Because she was literally thrown on her head, right? She blacked out for a certain amount of time. Had a pretty bad concussion from that too. Don't care about that. You just care about what Candace reported. That's what they do when they're wrong or can't answer. Exactly. Yeah, that's what cultists always do. And Hugo, you've seen this all the time, man. Right? I've seen it all the time with MLMs. People do that shit, dude. Yeah, dude, the internet makes people fucking crazy, dude. People will say anything behind a fucking screen. And then when you catch them outside, right? When you catch them outside, then shit changes. Their tune changes pretty quick, right? That's what really frustrates me about people. I'm the same person pretty much anywhere I go. Actually, I'm more filtered here on the internet than I am outside. And that's because I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube, obviously. But I do try not to use profanity so much. But then again, there's also a difference in being filtered, right? And openly, attacking people, right? Just because you don't agree with the actual evidence that's right in front of you, dude, that's just, I don't really feel for these people. I don't feel bad for these people. If you look at evidence staring you in the face, if you look at evidence staring at you in the face, and you decide to not care about this evidence that is actually very related to what the conversation is. You are, in my opinion, just as bad as the person in question. Is that wrong to say? I don't think it's wrong to say. I think you're equally a piece of shit like Mitch. If you look at all this evidence, right? Like I've shown you through Nate's channel, even before with some of the documents I showed you, right? And then even now, if you still think that Mitch is a good person, you are just a piece of shit. Like Nate was actually pulling up some chats, people going blah blah blah, yeah, so what? And I mean, you could just tell these people do not care about these victims. These victims, they don't care. Dude, you could always tell. You can always tell. This might get me in trouble, but I'm going to say it anyways. You can always tell who has never been punched in the fucking face. You can always tell who's never been punched in the fucking face by the way they act online. Mitch from the Diddy district. Oh, really? They all need to go and meet Chippy. Yes. Yes, we all need to toss these guys into the fucking wood chipper. Listen. I'm not this kind of guy, right? That subscribes to, don't always never hit women. I don't subscribe to that because there are situations where you have to, right? It's called self-defense. Now, be very cautious with that because we also know that today men are constantly attacked through court systems, through social media, right? Out in public, men are constantly berated, mocked, and attacked. We know this, right? However, if a woman wants to step into a man's world and put her hands on you, you better defend yourself, bro. You absolutely better defend yourself. And there are a lot of women that would agree with me. Whether they do or not, I don't care. But, don't put your hands on people. Don't put your hands on people, Just don't. Right? Now, aside from self-defense, if you are hurting women and children, you're no longer a man in my eyes. You're no longer a human. You're a worm. You are something to be put away with, right? You're to be buried under the prison, the wood chipper, right? So that's what I'll say to that.
This is number one. It is a crime. It's been prosecuted. It's been adjudicated. We have evidence of all these things. And this is just one of many victims. And by the way, we're going to have Lene on, his wife, current wife, essentially, that they've been going through divorce for, how long have they been going through a divorce now? Almost 10 years?
2016. So, yeah.
She's going to come on. Going to
almost
talk about
10
the
years
abuses and the allegations from him,
God
by the
damn.
way, against her and vice versa. But we will have her on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. But go ahead and continue, Candace.
Sure. So I met Mitch on December 31st of 22. And I was a nutritional director. I was living in Oregon, not Washington. He had spun the story of his ex-wife was abusing their son, that his son was dealing with an eating disorder, that it was all her fault, that, he was a victim of abusive women. And he really played into that with me. I had worked for a school district at that time. And, hearing that a child's being abused, he sent me videos of the child. you know, he was just a really sweet kid. It's hard to understand that whole situation, and it's you know, a form of manipulation.
I'm sorry that I'm pausing this so much, but there's something that I really wanted to talk about, and that's narcissism. I've already talked about narcissism a little bit here on the channel. Um, and actually, it's actually one of my very early videos. So if you guys haven't seen that one, I would absolutely look into it. But there's one thing that I really talk about is that narcissism or narcissists will always play on sympathy. They love to play on sympathy. And any way to rope you into what they are trying to get you to believe, that is going to be the playbook for narcissists. And if they can't do that, then they will absolutely show their true colors. They will then attack you in any way that they can, right? Because it's all about control. Narcissists want control. They want control over you. They want control over the direction of the, you know, maybe the interaction, the relationship, whatever it is. And that's a very dangerous place to be, especially when it comes to women. Well, I mean, both men and women, because unfortunately there are a lot more female narcissists that get away with what they do. But um, Dutch from Red Dead is a good example. Oh, really? You know, I haven't played a lot of Red Dead. Now, I remember playing the first one. The first one was pretty dope, but I haven't played a lot of the second one. But from what I saw, Dutch, yeah, definitely a good example for sure. Um, but you know, always be very careful. I'll give you a couple of examples. Um, so I had a former friend of mine who I had brought in and gave him a place to stay. He slept on my couch. Literally, he slept on my couch when he had nowhere else to go. And there was always something right with him because he would always start fights. Mainly because when it comes to narcissists, the only thing they know are battles, fights, right? And so if you have someone who starts fights with you constantly, that's a pretty big indicator that they are a narcissist, because they will start fights with you and then they will try to manipulate you to stay in the fight, right? The reason for that is because they're gaining control by slowly whittling you down to snapping. And when you do snap, they then throw it back at you and then they can extort you for whatever. And so with this example, I remember of doing a lot of religious research. I was a pretty big Christian back in the day, and I was studying the Bible every single day very intensively for years. That's why I'm not religious. Yo, locos, what's going on? What's going on? Narcissist feels themselves as the victims in most situations. That's true, and they will use any techniques to make you the bad guy. They will absolutely, and this is actually what I was about to get into. I remember we had gotten into an argument because the thing was, I would always sit in the living room, right? And this is when I was studying to be a pastor, and I would be watching videos, I would be reading the Bible, and all kinds of things, right? And he didn't like that, and he brought it up quite a few times. And you know, I said, dude, look, man, this is my house, okay? You're Christian too, right? You should be looking into this just as much as I am, right? And we would have debates on religious views. And there was one time he looked at me and he said, "Look, man, I was going. I was. If you want me gone, I can leave. I can leave. And I was planning to leave you with $1,000 and then go." That right there, it's not if you want me to leave, I'll go. It's the fact that he said, I was going to leave you with $1,000. right? Because then that was the bait. And this is exactly what narcissists do. They drop this bait in there for you, like as if they're a good person. And so you let off pressure so that they can take control of the situation. And it got to a point to where I was just done with the bullshit. You know? This is exactly why it's always good to look at things from the outside, right? Have a neutral look on things. However, always stand firm in yourself and always be confident in every single decision you make. Because if you don't, you become malleable. And when you're malleable, you can be taken advantage of, right? This guy that I'm talking about, he stayed in my house, slept on my couch, even ate some of my food, used my shower, my soap. Okay? For almost a year. Almost a year. All right? I had another friend I took in, a guy that I served with in Korea. Okay? He would start fights with me all the time. And it was always the same thing. It was always the same thing. At the end of the conversation, look, man, I love you. I care about you. Bro, he did, dude. He did, man. Fat ones, bro. Fat ones. And I'm like, dude, you got no respect for me, bro. You got no respect for me, bro. You're dropping bombs over the fucking toilet, bro. You can't be doing that shit. You didn't even call in a tactical. Like, what the fuck? He who stands for nothing falls for everything. That's right. Well, no. It's not everything. He who stands for nothing falls for anything. That's the actual quote. But you can absolutely fall for everything too, and that's a really big problem. So if there's anything that you guys take from this stream, anything that you learn, please take this. The most that you ever learn about yourself is through trial. Okay. And this applies to all of this here. Okay. And it's either you come out a stronger person or you come out more broken. Right. And it really depends on you how you learn and grow from that. If you are going to learn and grow from that. I've been broken several times. Several times. Military, my divorce, right? Walking away from my own mother. Finding out some things about my brother that I don't really like. And all of that has made me into a stronger person, I would say. Right? Because I have been around manipulators, narcissists, almost my entire life. Almost my entire life. My mother's ex-husband is a narcissist. I grew up with him ever since I was, 2 or 3? Grew up around domestic violence, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, right? And this isn't a woe is me, kind of bullshit here, but I've been through it, okay? I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about what it means to be a husband, what it means to be a man, what it means to be a good person. And it's easy to say that you understand yourself when times are good, right? But when you're forced to look into the mirror and understand who you really are, what you're really made of, that's when you learn most about yourself. If you fight with someone consistently, look at who starts the fights most often and look at the reasons. Analyze why they are starting fights and whether you are really even part of the argument. Exactly. Yeah. That's why I say never, ever be biased towards yourself. Okay. When it comes to debates, arguments, always keep an open mind, but don't let yourself be manipulated. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you could be wrong, right? There's always a chance that you could be wrong. And it's always good to admit when you're wrong. Like I'm wrong half the time. I'll never tell you guys that. And this probably be the only time I tell you guys that. But I will absolutely admit when I'm wrong. I'll absolutely admit when I'm wrong. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. However, when you're letting people take advantage of you, that's when it becomes an issue, right? People pleasing. Never, ever, ever be a people pleaser. Okay? Never, ever do that. Now, it's okay to want to please someone. That's completely fine, right? But never, ever, ever compromise who you are just for the other person. Don't ever do that. So, I hope that helps.
But my heart went out to the kid and to him in that situation at that point in time. And then we got into the relationship rather quickly, moved in very quickly, relocated, got a new job, and then he needed a car and he needed a new transmission and he needed certain bills paid for. And then he needed me to pay for his lawyer, to take his ex-wife to court. He needed me and my reputation to fight his battles because he couldn't do it himself. And
he needed his face introduced to the dirt.
I didn't feel comfortable doing it. It wasn't my place.
That was a joke, YouTube.
He was still married to Lene. It's, and the constant threat. If you don't do it, well, then get out of my house. I need to find another woman that was going to do this for me. Well, that's not the right thing to do,
Sure.
and
that's wild.
I was constantly living in fear from this man that liked to drink a lot, break in through the door while I was sleeping at night, either sexually assault me and beat me and laugh about it, or the night of the TBI, I had locked myself away. I had put an armoire in front of our master door.
Listen to this part.
He went and found tools to break the door open, laughing on the other side, telling me 44 different ways he was going to kill me, bury my body in the desert where no one could find it, and who was going to help him do it. And then he broke the door down, started strangling me, hitting me in the face, picked me up, and slammed the back of my head into the ground. I don't know how long I was out for. It was a while because he was no longer in the room when I came to. I started looking for my phone, and then I ended up passing out later on that night.
Listen, ladies, be very careful when choosing men. This is why fathers are so important. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of good fathers around, and that's been by design, right? There's not a whole lot of strong men around, and that's by design. Listen, the kind of men that you do want to keep around, and I'll be making a video on this, the kind of men that you do want to keep around, right, that you want to actually look for, are men that have no problem with telling you how things are. Okay, right. If you guys will remember back during the live stream ago with Mike, I was talking about telling women to shut the fuck up, right? This was one of the. There are some times when you have to do that, right? It's not because you're being mean. It's all for to get their attention, because sometimes a little bit of disrespect does get their attention. Unfortunately, men and women are very different. Okay. Now you don't want to. You want to be more crass with it, right? Or more careful with what you say, of course. Here, let me read your comment, Locos, with the questionable series of numbers. I'm always going to refer to you that way. It's hilarious. If the man worked as hard to fix his life as he is to, maybe exactly, yes. No, he is somewhere because then he got $140,000 that was, funded as Candace was propping this guy up. So he's somewhere up, apparently. But back to the thing. Look, women, ladies, you want a guy who is going to tell you how it is, like it is, okay? Guy that isn't afraid of losing you, right? A guy that is perfectly confident within himself, happy within himself, with or without you. That kind of guy is powerful, and that's what women want most. They want a guy that's confident, capable, powerful, right? A guy who's also compassionate as well, right? Not that he's nice, but that he is well-mannered. He's kind, right? He's compassionate. And above all, he understands that he is there to protect you, to provide for you, not to hurt you, right? No, though he does understand that by telling you as it is, it may hurt you, but that's not always the intention. The intention is to help you, right? Strong men are always going to be the thing that benefit women the most. Why do you think women are more miserable today than what they've ever been before? Because men let women do whatever the fuck they want today, right? And so that's why you must be careful, because unfortunately, there are too many women out here that do not have a great father. Hell, most of us, I think, never really had a great father. I know I didn't. I'd be sad if you didn't question my series of well, I'm always going to question your series of numbers. I just don't know why the 30 is after that. That's what I want to know. But always vet, okay? Because there are more important things than feelings, okay? Though that is what really attaches a woman to a man, is her feelings. But think about long term. Don't think about short term. Don't think about how this guy excites you, okay? Think about, is he a good long term investment for you? Is he going to be good with providing for a family, providing for you, right? Is he strong, capable? Is he compassionate, right? But most importantly, is he okay within himself? Okay. So always vet men properly. Okay. Vet some more. Okay. Don't go to a date and be talking about your fucking you oh shit. What is that? What's that thing that, what's that fucking trend that women lose their shit over today? Um, what's your sign, right? What's your, I forget, I forget what the fuck that's called. But don't go on a date, right? And ask superficial, surface level fucking questions. Never ever do that. The whole point of a date is to figure out who it is that you are courting, and are they going to be good for you, right? Are they going to be a good person for you? Manners, astrology. That's it. Fuck! I can't believe I forgot that. How did I forget that, bro? Oh my god! What's your sign, bro? What is your sign? Oh my god! You're an asparagus. Ew! I like broccoli. It's fucking stupid, man. Don't ever do that shit. Don't ever do that shit. Manners and compassion are integral to all parts of life, man, woman, child. Exactly. Yes. Um, that transcends any demographic. Find firmness and kindness in a person, and above all, find the truth in who they are. Exactly. Like I was telling you, you will learn the most about yourself when you go through trials. Um, that is very true, especially for relationships, right? Because, um, because if say you guys hit a rough patch like all relationships do, well, how is it that you guys come together? Are you guys going to have a civil conversation and look at it from, you know, you both of you guys on the same side, figuring out the problem? Or are you guys going to look at yourself as if you're standing across a bridge from one another? Right? So always vet, no matter what. The reason why I don't date, right, is because I know, because I absolutely believe in more traditional values, right? Traditional lifestyle. Um, but I know I'm not there. I know I'm not there. That's exactly why I don't date, right? I'm not financially ready, and I'm not physically there just yet. I'm getting there, but anyways, be very careful with who you get involved, and absolutely question every single. This gets into that whole, and I'm not gonna get too much into that, but question every single thing, okay? Right? Like I was saying, go on the first date, and then ask them the hardball questions. Okay, it's not an interrogation, right? These aren't hard questions, right? These are actual, real questions because you want to understand who this person is, right? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What is the most important thing to you in your life? Okay. What values, what morals do you subscribe to, right? Do you have a religion? Do you not have a religion? Why? Right? Who do you vote for? Why do you vote for them? Right? You want to understand who they are. Okay? What do you believe? What is your philosophy, right? These questions are very, very important questions to figure out who it is that you're, courting. So be very careful. And I say that for women because there are too many women that get wrapped up in emotions today. Do do you borrow money and pay it back? Dude, that is the question of the fucking century. That's how you know if someone's in an MLM or not. That's absolutely how you know if someone's in an MLM or not. Because you never pay it back. So, it's sad, but it's true, honestly. Anyways, back to this.
This is just the type of person you're dealing with. Is he won't stop. He won't leave you alone once he's had you. He thinks we're all
Very typical.
out to get him, or some type of conspiracy theory. Reality check. You're not that important to me. I have other things in my life going on that are way more important.
Get it, girl!
What I want people to know is that
God damn it. Oh, hey, look, if you don't flush after you take a shit, you're a psychopath, okay? All right? You're an absolute psychopath, okay? I tell you are a piece of shit. Pun intended. If you don't flush after you take a shit, you are the turd that did not land in the toilet bowl, okay? You are the turd that you didn't flush, okay? That is who you are. Oh. there's a storm there. Oh, that's no, bro. Is it? Oh, bro, is it like an actual storm? Or is it a winter storm? Because I was actually looking at Max Velocity. If you guys don't know who Max Velocity is, absolutely take a look into him. Max Velocity, he does a lot of winter stuff, and he's actually pretty spot on, pretty good. So definitely leagues. I mean, head and shoulders above the majority of meteorologists. So, which is crazy because they don't study meteors. Anyways,
He has a need to create a narrative for every single person to manipulate and coerce
yeah, it did. It was really bad timing. It was really bad timing.
you for whatever he's doing in his life, whatever his goal is at that moment in time.
Oh shit.
You know, he's a con artist, you know.
Well, let's
Um,
talk about that a little bit. So during this entire relationship, was he working? Like, where was the source of
No.
income coming from?
He was not working. I was working. I was working at Hanford. I did contract management.
Bro. Oh my fucking god. Boys, talking to my men. Never, ever, ever make your woman work. Ever. The reason why women were so happy back in the day is because they didn't have to go to work. They didn't have to worry about dealing with all that stress. And the stats show women are more stressed out today, more miserable today than what they have ever been. Don't ever make your woman work. This is exactly why I brought up, ladies being very careful with the men that they choose. Right? Where you shine as a woman is completely different than where men shine, and that's fine. Okay? Your purpose was not to work. Well, I mean, not to work in intensive labor like men do. Right? Your responsibility is to the home. Okay? Men's responsibility is outside the home. And over the home, of course. And, dude, you are a piece of shit. Now, what I will say is that through economics today, right? Because not all of us are in a financial situation to have our women at home. I understand that. That's fine. That's not what I'm talking about. If you are sitting on your fucking ass, not doing a goddamn thing and making your woman go out and fucking work, you are not a man in my eyes, and you will never be. I knew before she even said it that he wasn't exactly. I knew that too. He was treating her like the man of the house, but with none of the respect. Well, no, it's not that he was treating her like the man of the house. Not at all. A man of the house is never treated like that. Okay. I understand what you're saying. No, he was treating her like a cash cow. Right? Like how our government treats us. Okay. Especially when it comes to tax season. Or your paycheck. You know that meme? Oh shit. You know that meme? Right? But yeah, no, he absolutely he sees everyone like a cash cow. Elsewise, he wouldn't have jumped on the Candace Owens thing. Okay. So.
And so, he had me paying his car insurance. He had me paying the utilities for the property. He had me paying the mortgage at times.
Fuck, I forgot some of
and
this.
Taking him out to restaurants, paying for the vehicles. I paid for everything. I paid
Damn, girl, did you buy his Tampads too?
for the attorneys. I just, it's financially draining and exhausting.
So you're going to work every day, and
Right.
what does he do?
He doesn't do anything.
Look at that. Look, dude, look at that face, dude. Oh my god, bro. I don't mean to laugh, but fuck, that's her reaction was too good.
At the time, he had a home care aide that came into the house and did some cleaning for him, or
Yeah,
drove
way
him
more
around
accurate, yeah.
and took him to different places so he could talk to people. He's likes to be the center of any type of attention. He would he had a parrot he would take out with him just to go talk to people. Um, you know, he played video games a lot, different types of game systems on Xbox. He didn't sleep at night. He used to take my car and take my phone while I was asleep, and he would go stalk his ex-wife, and he'd videotape himself doing so, creating a narrative, and then bring it home and upload it on a computer. He was talking to a bunch of women on Facebook, and ex-girlfriends or local women in general, just spinning different stories at them, telling them all a different thing to try to get money, to try to get, you know, in their pants, so to speak. That's what he did. He does nothing. He has not worked in forever. He's living off of women's financials.
That is the lowest form of life I think there could ever be. In my opinion. In my humble opinion, that is the lowest form of life that anyone could ever be. Mitch, you are the biggest piece of fucking dog shit sitting in a fucking bowl of shit. fucking boiling pot of fucking water in the heat of fucking summer. You are such, dude. Lock him up for life. Lock that motherfucker up for life. Lock him up for life. Why do women fall for this? I want to know, why do women fall for this shit? I mean, I guess it's like anyone could fall for anything, right? But dude, what the fuck, man?
And at that,
What does he have any source of income whatsoever?
Women's financials.
he does. Okay. At the time that I met him, he was 90% disabled veteran with unemployability. So he wasn't, according to the VA, able to work anymore. So they allowed him to be unemployable. While we were together, he got it up to 100%. And I want to say, when you're 100% veteran, okay, with service-connected disabilities, you get a card and you have access to go to MWR, the commissary, the exchange on any military base. You are allowed to do those things.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe they changed that, actually. It's no longer just 100% disabled PNT. I'm pretty sure it's any disabled veteran with any VA card, if I remember correctly. But she's just about to say that she's a veteran.
I'm allowed to do those things. I'm a veteran.
Right. So what really pissed me off about this part of her story was that you have absolute pieces of fucking filth that don't deserve to be a part of this society, or any functional society they're in, that get handouts. Well, I mean, not handouts, but that get everything. That get everything, right? You know, I look at this. I look at myself, right? I was just awarded unemployability from the VA, and I have been working at that for months. And guys, look, I'm going on 10 months straight. Okay, this isn't to pat myself on the back. I'm going on 10 months fucking straight, almost every single day, doing content for you guys, helping you guys out however I can. Okay, 10 months, right? And this piece of fucking shit is going on, what, 6 years of gaslighting women, living off of their financials, and being a fucking parasite off of the VA. It really pisses me off. This is why I don't see this guy as a veteran. Where's your honor? Right? There is none.
It just, the layers of lies that he's talking about and telling people. You know, I trust the system, okay? The process, okay?
I don't.
If the court says that I have a 12-year domestic violence protection order, you know, and he's not supposed to be harassing me, talking ill of me, why is he being allowed to do what he's doing? Why is he going on podcasts? Why is he reaching out to reporters? Why is he slandering me? And why is he getting away with it? Why are people supporting him? Is it because they don't know? Is it because they don't do their research? It's easy to look up and, you know, Google.
Well, as we've come to find out, and as Erica has been talking about this, well, you know, when it comes to Candace Owens' community, which this is nothing to Candace, because again, I'm not attacking Candace in any way, but the people that go on to Nate's show and is just saying, oh, blah, 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 who cares, stuff like that. Yeah, these people absolutely don't do their research. They're NPCs. They're bots, right? They're absolute bots. And that's the problem. That's the problem. Is that these people will go and not do their research and just give whatever they can. And they get extorted. They get lied to. They get taken advantage of, right? And it's a perfect breeding ground. It's a perfect breeding ground for this kind of behavior. And that's exactly why Mitch took advantage of that situation. And that's why we have to get this conversation done and over with so that we can get back to the Charlie Kirk shooting and figure out who actually did it, which, let's be honest, let's be very real. We all know who did it. We all know who did it. Starts with an I, you know, it's across the seas. We all know who did it. Because the very day or so after it happened, why would then a certain prime minister come out on Fox News and say that they were not responsible for doing that?
Google his current name, Mitchell Harrison Snow, and know that he's harming women. He laughs about it.
And children.
He likes to do it.
Let's talk a little bit about, so, you know, one of the things that kind of is the genesis of his story with Candace Owens. He talks about being on the border in, 1990, and he's down there and he helps discover this big drug bust and tunnel. I talked to his wife that was his ex-wife that was his wife during that time period. She knew nothing about that. He actually has an award write-up. I think he was down there with border support. He does have an award write-up, but what it doesn't talk about, and it would be the fact that he actually assisted in a large drug bust. From there, he said that, the cartels were chasing him. He had a 35-year NDA, which is not a thing.
I should be bringing my coins on to show you guys. It's in my truck and I'm not going to go outside. It's too cold. But the reason why I bring up my coins is because when I was a military law enforcement, my last year in, there was a college kid that was coming through the base, and for some reason, whatever reason that was, this kid was he had residue on him for sure. He absolutely had residue of marijuana. He had residue of marijuana and the stench. Okay, and we just went through some training and everything like that to be able to pick that stuff out. And so, I was scanning cards. Everyone was coming in, and then I got a whiff. I was like, "What the fuck?" So called everything in, and then leadership shows up. They start investigating, and then OSI shows up. Right? It's the Air Force equivalent to NCIS, right? OSI being the Office of Special Investigation. It's pretty much the detectives of the Air Force Police. Um, and they came, they did their investigation, and then they had coined me, right? And I thought that was pretty interesting to say because I believe I put that on my EPR, and so that stuff would have been documented, and I think that would be in your records as well. But this stuff you would have proof of, is what I'm saying. You would absolutely have proof of this, and the fact that he doesn't just speaks volumes. Anyways, all right, Hugo. I was at LAX September 10th. Okay, I was in the bathroom checking my social media, and out of nowhere, I see headlines of him being shot. Yep, I was in disbelief until the video showed up. I was in disbelief too, man. I really was. I really was. I remember where I was when I got that information. I think I had just put out a video that day. I think I just put out a video that day, and I saw what was going on. I saw the headlines, and I didn't believe it. My heart sank. It did. It did. I felt heavy. You know when you're hit with like a wave of anxiety, and your entire body just feels heavy. That's what was going on. That's how I found out that Charlie was hit. Um, but obviously we didn't find out until some time later, that it actually wasn't Tyler who shot him. And I will absolutely take that to the fucking grave. Tyler did not shoot Charlie. Matter of fact, I've already done a video on this, and we can actually watch that video if you guys want to. But I did my own analysis on. I believe I did a couple of videos on it actually. What I want to mention to you guys is that, and this is what I found was pretty sus. So back in 2022, the FBI had adopted the Flow 556K suppressor. And I will absolutely stand by this, that the shot that rung out that day was a suppressed rifle. That it was absolutely suppressed. And so I don't believe for a single second that it was not suppressed. Right? And Charlie was not shot from the front. There's no way. Okay, because the official narrative says that he was shot in his C2 and that it went down, right, and lodged into his neck. Well, now that's obviously flipped, because now they say it's a frangible round. Well, why would you say that you found the round in his neck and then say that that it was a frangible round? Because when it comes to frangible rounds, they disintegrate on impact, so you wouldn't even find a round. Anyways, he was not shot from the front, okay? Because the video, we saw a wound here and everything coming out, okay? So that would insinuate, or I'm sorry, that would suggest that he was not hit from the front, because if he was hit from the front, another thing to look out for is that there would have been overspray from behind him. Anytime someone is hit, right, and it's going and the rifle and the round is traveling at a specific or in a specific direction, tearing through flesh, right, the exit wound is always going to leave a bigger. The exit wound is always going to be larger than the entrance wound, and so tearing through all that flesh is going to carry a good amount of blood, right? And so that's what overspray is that tearing of flesh and that ripping of the exit wound that causes that splatter. That is what overspray is. And we would have saw that if that was the case, but we never saw that. Okay. And it doesn't matter how far away he was, there would have been some overspray, whether dropping to the ground behind him or hitting the tent, because he was actually not too far away from that tent. So what I would suspect, and I actually went frame by frame of the exact moment he was hit. There was a shock wave from his. I'm trying to. So from his back right side, there was like this. There was this shock wave that I saw. It's kind of hard to tell, but I did see it. And that would suggest that he was hit, and it's the only thing that makes sense. It's the only thing that makes sense is that he was hit from his back right side, right below the base of his skull, which is where your C1 and C2 is, right? Coming down at an angle and then coming out of his neck like that, severing his spine. That's the only thing that would have explained the movement of him coming up like this and then him going over. Okay. I saw that video over and over and over again, so I took a look at it. Okay. It's the only thing that makes sense, and the fact that they had paved over that is very suspicious. And I would bet money that if that concrete was dug up, that they would find that round there. And it would not be a 30-06. A 30-06 would have decapitated Charlie. Okay. Frenchable round, maybe not. But incendiary or otherwise, even just a regular ball, right? Which is just a regular round, would absolutely almost decapitate him. Okay. There's no way that he was shot from the front or with 30-06. What I would suspect is there was quite a bit of damage. But what I would suspect is that he was hit with a 5.56 round. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. So that's what I would suspect there. But anyways, just so we don't keep going on there. Yeah.
And that he was in witness protection. Can you confirm or deny any of those things? Have you heard anything about that? Did he talk about those things? Like any information on that?
He has never talked about that stuff to me when we were in that relationship.
Gotcha.
I don't remember hearing any NDA. It was just complaints about his ex-wife, Lene, and the fact that he was still going through the divorce. There was no talk about an NDA, which is, not logical when you're sitting there on podcasts, when you're out in the public, when you're talking to senators and congressmen, trying to manipulate them to do what you want them to do, or judges. He is the one that asked me for money so that he could go drive around in the middle of the night and get biker gangs to kill a Superior Court judge, Shay Brown, myself once I left, and Aaron Massey. He is the one that did that. He was waiting for my compensation from the VA as a chunk of change to do that.
Now, both after talking to Lene, talking to you, talking to other ex-wives, he seemed to be extremely consumed with, number one, getting custody of his child, but also kind of destroying Lene. talk a little bit about some of the things that he would do with that.
Before we hear her response, look, I want to keep a close eye on Mitch because now that he's got that 140,000, he's absolutely going to go after Lene, right? And so I'm asking if any of you guys follow Nate on Valhalla, JD Delay, Gary, please ask them to keep an eye on Mitch, right? Because the more of an eye we keep on Mitch, the more pressure he's going to feel, and that's absolutely what he deserves, and that's what we have to do. Because if we just leave it off with, okay, now we know who this guy is, so we're gonna leave him alone. Well, we're leaving him alone with his victims. In no way in fuck am I ever going to let that happen. So make sure you guys keep an eye on him. Whatever information you see, please send to me. I'll absolutely do a live stream over it or a video, because we're absolutely going to protect these victims here any way that we can.
So I want to mention the fact that in that podcast with Kat Espinoza, he brought up the whole mortgage situation on his house. Okay. He tried to manipulate a woman working for a mortgage company and get into a personal relationship with her in order for her to give him the title to that house while going through the divorce with Lene. This man wants money. He wants property. He wants the child so that he can get child support so he doesn't have to keep paying her child support. Okay. He just wants money and control.
Now,
Scum.
he's
In the house,
Go
the
ahead.
house is marital property. So Lene owned the house before she ever even met or married Mitch. That was her home after grad school.
Gotcha.
Yeah, she purchased the home in Pasco. During their marriage, he wanted a second property. She bought a larger, more expensive home, about $700,000.
This is kind of looking like one of those catfishing scams, of like not Nigerian prince reaches out to your grandma, through a dating app, and they fall in love with each other, and 3 months later, couple weeks later, 2 days later, he wants an iPhone. He wants 3 iPhones. He wants an iPhone and a Kindle. Bro wanted a second house, and she bought a second house for 700 G's, bro. 700 G's. What? My house is barely 180 G's. 700 G's, bro? You're dropping money like that? Who has that kind of money?
And 6-bedroom. They moved into that house. Okay. They were planning on renting out the Pasco home that he's currently living in. But with all the domestic violence that was happening, they ended up, going through domestic violence issues, splitting up.
Naturally.
She had to sell that property,
The big house.
and in the process of all of that, she's living in a very small apartment now, and he got the Pasco home.
And the court split the big house money to pay
Attorney
court debt.
fees.
Yeah, attorney fees and court debt. Yeah. So like that money went nowhere. There was nothing left.
And during his marriage with Lene, was he ever working or anything like that?
No.
I'm pretty sure you guys would relate to me. I hate this guy more and more and more and more. Oh, God damn it. Oh, the very fact that his mom didn't swallow is a curse upon all of us. Oh, God damn it.
So
As
it
far
was-
as I
it
know,
was-
he was a stay-at-home dad from what he told me.
Yeah.
Like he would brag about the fact that he got to stay home with Nate all the time.
Gotcha. And she was the sole source of income outside of his
Mhm.
disability.
Yes.
Yes.
Um, in several podcasts, he talks about or provides allegations against Lene of both abuse and physical
Mhm.
abuse and starving their son Nathan. You were kind of front and center with all of this. Did you see anything that would substantiate that? Do you feel like that was true? What's your thoughts, or what did you see regarding those issues?
So Lene and her son, okay,
Mhm.
are very quiet, shy, isolated kind of people. Okay, I want to say that.
So they're
Um,
introverted.
Yeah, they're introverted. I kind of think it's due to lack of trust with others because of Mitch, is what I want to say. Um, while I was in the relationship with Mitch, there were times I would wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and find him in his son's room. Not letting him sleep, just yammering and telling him old stories while he's drunk. Okay. I can say that I don't believe that there was any abuse from Lene.
Coercion.
There are, in my opinion, records, well, in court's opinion as well, there's documented records that he coerced Nathan Snow. Well, sorry, his son. He coerced his son into every type of communication, saying his mother did this to him. His mother touches him while he's asleep, things of that nature. He had him completely convinced that his mom did those things.
And there was like
Okay.
an intense, deep investigation by a detective. And when they got Nate into the same room with the detective and a social worker or psychologist, I forget what she was exactly, but when they got Nate by himself, he was like, "Oh, yeah, my mom does these things to me." But they were like, "Are you, have you seen her do it? Do you know she's doing it?" And he was like, "No, I'm asleep." And then it led on into his dad told him so.
Right,
What?
right.
Like it's written on a report from the detective, and whenever Mitch says, "Oh, the detective's in cahoots and stuff," he just disagrees with the report. But I mean, it's not my place to talk a whole lot about Nate and Lene,
Sure.
but I do know that there's been a lot of therapy with a third party just to be able to, just for Nate to be able to function and process everything that he was put through.
Yeah. Mitch used to take my vehicle and take my phone. He would leave his phone at the house because he considered that some kind of app on the phone that shows you exactly where you've been, metadata, was the way in order to communicate that he was not stalking his ex-wife, Lene, that he was not every single night going to her house, okay? Or that he did not take his son out on drives, just the two of them in the middle of nowhere, and coerce his son for hours at a time, which he did.
Well, I think we've heard enough there. So I hope that they get the justice that they rightfully deserve. I think it's time to move on to his son. This is the Army veteran who is now coming out and exposing his father for the piece of shit that he is. So,
very short amount of time while she was still a medic in the U.S. Army. She left him because he was
well,
complete
let's
deadbeat.
back it up.
No child support.
All right.
Let's back it up.
Let me introduce you guys, or I'm gonna have him introduce himself. I'm not sure if he wants to use his real name. He's been waiting
That's fine.
backstage gracefully and patiently. Yeah. So welcome to the show. Let's tell everybody who you are, and
Uh,
we're gonna go from there.
I'm Cameron Dowler. I went by Myers for less than a year of my life when I very first started. My mom is Linda Dowler. She was with Harry for a very short amount of time. And in that very short amount of time, while she was still a medic in the U.S. Army, she left him because he was complete deadbeat. No child support, no real interest in pursuing a real relationship of any kind. Kind of left her out to dry, to the point where he had disciplinary action taken against him through the Army because they kind of take that seriously. Um, my contact with him has been extremely limited. I could have pursued something, but everything I knew about him from stories, from letters, and oh man, my mom has a box of letters from him that is just like story after story after story, and it's all fiction. It's not even believable. And she'll admit that now.
Well, Cameron, you're also a veteran. Tell everybody a little bit about, before we get off into that, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your military career. And yeah.
Okay. I was in for a short amount of time, just shy of 6 years, and I've been deployed. I've served with 10th Group. Went to Afghanistan. Been stationed in Germany. Stationed at Fort Carson, Gordon, Benning. And even during that short time, I'm not special forces. I'm not ranger, none of that. I've worked with those guys. I know them well. They would not like him, to say the least. There's something that you learn when working with those guys very quickly, and it's trust your gut, intuition. You can know when somebody's like trying to sell you a story, or when they're trying to take advantage of your sympathy. That is Harry Myers to a T.
Now, even when you were young and they were recently separated or divorced, and I've talked to your mother, and she's told me some pretty wild stories. And then I also talked to his second wife, Gretchen, who, we were talking a little bit about you. I was like, hey, what do you know about his previous?
There are multiple women that he's done this to, right? So Lene, Gretchen, Candace, that's 3 women right there, and pretty sure there are more.
Wife and his son. And apparently to her, he claimed all throughout their relationship that you were not his son. Did he ever pursue any sort of relationship with you?
Yes.
How did that?
He would call. Most of the time, it's through calling or trying to get in touch through a third person. But at that point, I was already adopted by my father.
And how old were you at this point?
I was under the age of 3.
Gotcha.
So I've never looked at Harry or this like fraudulent weird Mitch Snow alias that he's got and said, oh yeah, that's my dad. No, not once. So I don't have any sort of emotional investment of any kind with this man. He tried to get in touch with me through an ex-wife, my current wife at the time when I was in the service early on. Tried to tell her a bunch of stories about how he's gonna hook us all up. He was a millionaire, and he just had to keep his money hidden, and that he had some places out by the Hood River that we should all move in together when I get out of the service or something like that. I just remember being on the phone while stationed in Germany, just kind of looking at the phone like,
what the fuck?
No, what? I don't want that. Why is he talking to you? Block him. Get rid of him on Facebook. Don't talk to this dude. He's a creep.
So I remember when I was stationed, because I was stationed in Germany too. I remember when I was deployed. I should have started with that. I remember when I was deployed to Sigonella in Sicily, Italy. I had a woman reach out to me on Facebook, and this woman was a woman that was with my biological father, who had not had any kind of contact, any connection with for quite a number of years. Um, yeah, it does. It absolutely does. It says a lot. It says a lot about who this guy is. Um, which is why I wanted to talk about his story as well. But back to my own. Uh, so this guy, or I'm sorry, this woman, reached out to me on Facebook while I was deployed, and she had told me that he is my biological father, um, is or she's just coming to find out who this guy is, right? And when I was very young, he was on drugs. He was a prolific drug abuser. Um, Everything is out of control all at once. What do you mean? I'm confused on what you mean. Um, so yeah, prolific drug abuser. I remember my first memory that I have ever had was watching him overdose on drugs. Um, and there was a point when I was 8 or 10, I believe. He was trying to convince me to uh, live with him. And well, that same summer, his current wife, or I guess his wife at the time, had physically abused me, my younger brother, and her own kid. Because, well, he got in trouble for something we had nothing to do with, and we also got a beating too. So, yeah, that was fun. My grandmother was not happy about that. My mother was not happy about that, which is something that I do respect my mother for, even though I don't have a good relationship with her. Um, I do respect her for that. She was very protective when I was young, which is good. It's what a mother should be. But so she's reaching out to me, and she's telling me who this guy is, and like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I haven't heard anything. I haven't talked to him, and what since I was like 8 or 10, so it's been years. And I think I was about 23, 24 at the time. And well, come to find out that he was just sentenced, I think, to prison for committing fraud. He was scamming people, um, uh, falsifying documentation. I think he was working on people's homes without being licensed and all this kind of shit, and just got into a bunch of trouble. And so, um, I think there was a point where she said that, yeah, he was trying to reach out to you, and I said, I haven't known him for the majority of my life, so I I don't consider him my father. And when he said that, I was like, I know that. I know that. I know that completely. It's sad, but it is what it is, and I'm glad he said that because, you know, I've experienced it, and that absolutely happens.
So when you were younger, before you were adopted, or even maybe afterwards, like was there ever visitation? Was he ever coming to spend time with you?
No,
Was
no.
he ever doing any of these types of things?
I have no memories of him ever being physically in my presence.
Gotcha.
Zero. I've seen some pictures of him every once in a while. I've heard things from my uncle, my grandma, his own mother, my grandmother, wants absolutely nothing to do with him. If he fell off the earth and vanished or was just written out of existence, she would be happier for it.
Damn.
It says a lot
Damn.
when even a mother's love has its limits.
Yeah.
When
Well-
somebody is
well, there you
just
go.
so
There you go. What the fuck?
willfully untreated and mentally ill that nobody wants to be around them. And it's a pattern. Like you can see it everywhere.
Well, hang on a second. Hang on a second. When it comes to mentally ill, there's a confusion often of uh, right and wrong, right? When it comes to mentally ill, when it comes to mental illness. Now, um, well, I mean, I guess I yeah, I guess it just it depends on the kind of mental illness, right? I mean, PTSD in my example, I know that there's the difference between right and wrong. But when it comes to well, actually, I mean, there could be an argument for both, But what I was going to say is, there's a lack of uh, understanding, right? And I'm talking unless he's talking about something completely different. I'm interpreting that as mental illness, such as um, mental retardation, right? Where there's not exactly an understanding of right or wrong. Um, but well, I guess in some cases there are, right, depending on how disabling it, the condition is. Um, willfully untreated is a key statement there. That yeah, that is very important to note. Willfully untreated, exactly. That's a really good point. It's a very good point. Um, that is the key. That's the giveaway right there. Is willfully untreated. But mental illness, that's kind of a gray area, right? Because when it comes to PTSD triggers, you just react, right? It's not something that you're really thinking about. It's just how your body perceives things and reacts accordingly, to avoid further damage of the body or the mind. But she's dreaming. I was wondering what that noise was. Oh my god, what the fuck? um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'm not a psychologist, so, but I mean that was just me thinking. But willfully untreated. That's something to note for sure.
Look, um, like
And the fact that his own mother wants nothing to do with him, I mean that speaks volumes, bro. That really does. Holy shit.
if I were to go in, I doubt anybody knows him in the service. If I were to somehow track down the units that he's been in, find the guys who were in those units, and maybe if some of them had gone, green to gold to stay officers so they didn't have to retire, those guys, if they exist, would probably not want to talk about Harry Myers at all. They would probably be wondering, he's not trying to contact me, is he? And that was my mom. She was like, I don't know what's going on, but we're getting calls about Harry. And I just remember hearing my mom say it when we were going over for Christmas. And I was like, oh.
Now,
That could be good.
I asked, I asked Candace and Aaron about this. Around the time that you were born is when he was claiming that he was on the run from the cartel. That he was in witness protection. Had
you
you
guys
ever
see that?
heard any of the stories like that? Does your mother share any?
No, he
about
was
any-
in trouble for completely neglecting child support payments.
Gotcha.
Mm.
Okay. So do you know why he changed his name?
Probably because he has a bunch of kids with other people since then that he doesn't have contact with, and probably hasn't paid a single penny of child support willingly. I feel like it feels silly. It's like somebody telling you that a local drunk scam artist down at the gas station is claiming he saw aliens abduct the president. Like his stories, all of it, it's beyond just being wild and stupid to the point of like,
Now,
I mean, I understand why the conversation needs to happen, but at the same time, I'm just like, he just wants attention. There's no point in giving him any of this. Like,
now
letting
he you're a veteran, and I don't know. Have you watched his claims on Candace Owens? Do you know what he's talking about?
I watched some of them very briefly, very briefly. I can only stomach so much of that bullshit. They're not going to let him go into anywhere ops center or anything like that.
Yeah.
On any post, not Huachuca, not Carson, not nowhere, not in the States, not abroad. They're going to make him go through the same center that everybody goes through to get his ID, get it renewed if he doesn't have it to that point. They're going to let him go to the commissary. They're going to let him go to the PX, maybe some of the other amenities on the post, but he doesn't have a secret security clearance.
Or if he does walk into the Joint Task Force staff duty, he might end up detained and outside getting the canines called on him, as per this report. Which, again, I don't even know if this report is real or not. There's so much craziness going on with this report. It's not a license plate number.
They called me on September 9th, asking me if I knew anything about a Mitch Snow, and telling me that I was listed as his number one emergency contact. And I just remember sitting there for like a minute, like, I don't know Mitch Snow. I don't know why I'd be on somebody's emergency contact list. Like,
So you weren't even aware of his name change, or you just forgot about it, or like you just weren't aware
I wasn't
of
aware
at all.
I don't, like I said, like I really, like, it's just one of those I just don't think about the guy really.
So you were called by, I guess, military police on.
Dude, that phrasing. Yeah, that's a little insane, bro. That's a little insane, bro. That's fucking what the fuck, dude. Holy shit. Yeah, that's pretty insane, man. That's pretty insane. Being abducted by aliens, bro. The president being abducted by aliens. But I mean, it all makes sense because it's all fucking crazy. It's beyond wild and stupid. I mean, what does that even come to at that point, right? Just fucking stupidity, right? There's a point to where wild and stupidity just becomes stupidity. Maybe laughable stupidity. I'm having a good time laughing at this guy.
On September 9th. And about what time was that?
Let's see. Bear with me just a second here. I might be able to look this up fast.
Yeah, no worries. Take your time. I know you were waiting backstage for a long time, so we appreciate your patience. While you're looking that up, what I'll do is I'll cover a couple of these super chats. We got Love and Jesus 77. Everybody that gave to Mitch was scammed. Request a refund immediately. I couldn't agree more.
Exactly. Yeah.
And thank you for that very generous super chat. Candace Owens initially said that she'll connect Mitch to another podcaster for a live, but then a few days later, she hosted him. One would wish she'd do a basic background check before hosting him. So curious. Yeah, especially with such a big story. I mean, when you have such a big story and the entire story is riding on the credibility of the person conveying it, you'd think you'd want to do a background check on them. That would be the common sense thing to do. Candace Allen 4681, thank you for your service, all you warriors. Dan Cameron, thank you for your service too, buddy. We appreciate it. One of the things I told your mother this, it's a shame how things turned out to some extent, but I think, it sounds like you got a great dad.
I do.
Had a great life, and, it all worked out for the best so that you could grow up and be the man that you are today. And
him not being a part of my life is probably one of the best things that could have ever happened.
I couldn't agree more. God always has a plan.
So I
Yeah,
looked
go
it
ahead.
up. September 9th, it was around 12:30 that they called.
12:30. And what time zone are you on?
I'm in Pacific Standard Time.
Okay, so that would have been Pacific Standard Time too, because Arizona in September is basically on Pacific Standard Time because they do not recognize daylight savings. So 12:30. Did they give you any other information when they had him detained and they call you? Did they tell you?
They
anything?
wanted to know if I knew anyone else that was on his emergency contact list.
Okay,
They wanted to know if any of the information on them was correct or anything like that. And I told them basically like I have no idea.
sure.
I haven't talked to uh, any of his other kids. I haven't spoken to his ex-wives or the people that he's abused and been around. Um, I've been I've been blissfully not having to
Unaware.
deal with his issues.
Um, I don't know. Is there anything else that you want people to know about him, or I don't
To
know.
not trust him. Don't like it's all stories. His his father had some sort of like degenerative mental disorder that was like, part of that was the pathological liar sort of thing. I don't know what he claims his reasons are for stopping talking to his dad. Nobody else in my family or that's like connected to him through some sort of familial bond, whether
Mhm.
active or not, estranged or not, wants any contact with him.
Yeah.
They don't really want to be contacted about him. My grandmother, my uncle, they want absolutely nothing to do with him. They don't want to be poked about it, called, mentioned, brought up in conversation by him or other people. Like
Well, I
they're
have talked to his two other adult children, and they said the exact same thing. They're younger than you, um, but they said the exact same thing. That's the exact same story that I heard from them. Like, we don't want anything to do with this guy, and
he's a
yeah.
grifter.
So you have maintained a relationship with the Myers side of the family. Sounds like, with your
Yeah,
grandmother, with your uncle, but not your father,
correct.
your biological father. And has your grandmother given any reason as to why, or your uncle?
She says he always wants money. He's always being manipulative. He's always stories, taking advantage of people's sympathies. That he's violent. He's not trustworthy. She wants absolutely nothing to do with him. Every time he's brought up in conversation, she will very adamantly state that she does not want to talk about it, does not want to ruin the conversation by talking about him, wants nothing to do with him.
Well, I think we've heard all that we really need to hear to kind of make a decision on who this guy actually is. And well, we heard that from his own son. He's a grifter. Not only is he a grifter, he emotionally, psychologically, and physically abuses women and children. Um, and well, the only thing that's really befitting for this guy is a jail cell for the rest of his fucking life. And then when he passes away, like the piece of shit he is, just throw him in a ditch. Um, I think that would probably be too kind for him. So, just so that his corpse never sees another shred of daylight, probably just bury him underneath the prison. Maybe just dig a hole underneath the prison and just throw him in there. Um, so, yeah, lots of documentation on who this guy is through courts. Um, Openly admitting to punching a woman in the face, scamming a bunch of women, scamming a bunch of people, now grifting through this big story. Um, and holy shit. Hope that people get their refund. and that whatever money that he does get, he can't go after Lene. So, what do you guys think about this guy? I think he's a piece of shit. I absolutely think he's a fucking piece of shit. And he absolutely deserves to be made fun of. So I think we should make fun of him. I don't think you guys know what this guy looks like. So let's go ahead and pull up a picture of him because he's super charming. He's super charming, guys. Let him sleep with the fishies. Exactly. 100%. 100%. Maybe I should have pulled up. I spelled story wrong. Okay. Let me see here. Here we go. There we go. Here's the beautiful man himself. There's the beautiful man himself. There he is. Oh, gorgeous. Here, I'll pull this up for you guys. Look at this man. Isn't he just beautiful? Isn't he just a beautiful kind of guy? Oh, man. That's a nose only a mother could love. Well, I mean, which apparently she doesn't. So, yeah. Looks like you're going to have to go and find another mommy, bro. Take care of you. You know, to buy you your video games so that you can sit and play video games all day. You know, feel good about yourself. Piece of fucking shit. Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that. That's a man right there. Ladies, that is a man. That's a hunk of man right there. That's every woman's dream. Look at that. Oh, look. That square jawline he's got there. Oh. It's getting me steamy, let me tell you. Let me tell you, it's getting steamy in here. It's getting steamy in here. Oh man, that 5 o'clock shadow doesn't look like a predator at all. No. Nope. Probably going to see him on Skeeter Jean's video. Yeah, we're probably going to be seeing him on Skeeter Jean's channel probably in the next 6 months or so. So, wouldn't be surprised. But that is Mitch Snow. That is who this guy is. And, well, yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, that is going to do it for tonight. We found out who Mitch Snow is. We got to hear from his victims of past relationships and his son. He looks like I just told him that we're out of roll and preparation age at the Dollar General. Oh man, holy shit! Well, look, this is he looks like when you get he looks like when you get laxatives mixed up with the Robitussin. Okay, that's what he looks like. That's what he looks like. Okay, we were joking about shitting the toilet earlier, and he's definitely the turd that didn't make it. He's the turd that forgot to flush. So, yeah, that is Mitch Snow. You are a laughing stock. You are not a man. You are worse than a worm. Something that does not deserve to be a part of the society. His eyebrows. Yo, that's awesome. I love that. That's fucking funny. That's hilarious. Oh man. Yep. Always great to have a little bit of a roast session after at the end of stream here. So, but yeah, we figured out who this guy is. He loves to abuse women. He loves to abuse his children. Even his children is called, or they're calling him out. His own mother doesn't want anything to do with him, and his own son said he's grifting people. So for you Candace fans, who don't like the truth, well, you just got scammed, and you're probably happy to be scammed, aren't you? because you're into that. You're into that shit. But for the people who are finding out the real information, want their money back, I hope you guys get your money back. So man doesn't. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He gets his mommy he's married to flush the toilet for him. That's what happens. That's what happens. Well, he just kind of slithers into his man cave to play his fucking video games that she bought for him. So, you know, most women don't want to play mommy, but there are some women out there that absolutely love to play mommy, and it's a bad situation to be in. Or more girls, more power to you. More power to you. But that is going to be the end of the stream, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Locos, I appreciate you stopping by. Eric, appreciate you stopping by. Hugo, appreciate you stopping by. And all you guys that stopped by, thank you so much. I love you all. You guys are amazing. I cannot wait to spend some more time with you guys on Friday. Don't know exactly what we're talking about on Friday, but figure it out. Anyways, you guys have a beautiful Monday, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.